Meanwhile, an appeals trial begins today for former President Yoon Suk Yeol on charges of leading an insurrection after he was sentenced to life in prison in the first trial. Later this week, appellate rulings are also due in separate cases involving Yoon's alleged obstruction of a corruption investigation office for high-ranking officials' arrests and former First Lady Kim Keon-hee's alleged stock manipulation and illicit gift-taking from the Unification Church.
An appeals court began a trial on former President Yoon Suk Yeol's charge of leading an insurrection on Monday. This comes 67 days after the first trial court sentenced Yoon to life imprisonment in February.
국회의 권능을 침해하려는 국헌문란의 목적을 가지고 군을 동원해 폭동을 일으키는 것에 해당.
The court explained that the special counsel law provision shortening the deadline for submitting the appeal brief was not applied, and that time was required for service procedures as there are 8 defendants, including Yoon. However, the future trial proceedings will likely gain speed. The bench has already set dates for some 10 hearings to be held until July. On Wednesday, an appellate court will deliver a ruling on charges that Yoon obstructed the Corruption Investigation Office for high-ranking officials' attempts to arrest him. It will be the first sentence to be delivered since the Special Insurrection Tribunal was installed and launched under the Seoul High Court. In the first trial, Yoon was found guilty for most charges and sentenced to 5 years in prison. The appeal verdict for former First Lady Kim Keon-hee on allegations of stock manipulation involving Deutsche Motors and receiving gifts from the Unification Church will be announced on Tuesday. The first trial court found her partially guilty on receiving gifts and handed down a jail term of 1 year and 8 months. The appeals trials for Yoon and Kim will air live on KBS 1 TV.